This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Swung on, drive to left field. Did he do it? He did! 4 home runs for Nick Kurtz! He is 6 for 6!
Swing and a drive, deep to left. The A's take the lead in grand fashion.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Stretch of the pitch to Cal. Swing and a drive, deep to right field. There it is, number 60, the modern-day Bambino.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe from humidors to walk-off dingers.
That swung on a high, deep drive to right. Smith is back. He will not even watch it. And the A's win it on a walk-off by Nick Kurtz.
We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Big League Weekend here in Summerlin, Las Vegas. We are in Downtown Summerlin. Absolutely beautiful. Getting you ready. 2 hours from now, it's going to be the Athletics and the Halos from Las Vegas Ballpark, the home of the Las Vegas Aviators. Chris Townsend alongside Cody Elias, Commander Cody. We've got some A's legends for you today. Eric Chavez, A's Hall of Famer, 6-time Gold Glove winner, is here. He is signing autographs along with Scott Hatteberg, who hit one of the biggest home runs in A's history. Behind us, behind the DJ and the VW bus, which is pretty cool. We have a DJ coming out of VW bus. Pretty schwank.
Yeah, I mean, you can, if you're watching on X or YouTube, you can see it right behind us, the yellow bus and the DJ and everything going on behind us with the A's. And, you know, Amelia Schimmel's here. We got the heavy hitters out here in downtown Summerlin.
So we have, I mean, if you've got the kids, come on out. I mean, right next to us, off to the left here, we're blowing up balloons. We're doing face painting. There's a ton of giveaways. Downtown Summerlin, by the way. As we start to look around where we are going to live once the move happens in 2028, a lot of people have told us you're going to want to look at the Summerlin area. Being here downtown Summerlin, walking around, we were here last year, staying at the Red Rock Casino Hotel, but the beautiful Red Rock Mountains, which are right here. This is like when you talk about high desert, when you talk you're even higher than where we are down at the Las Vegas Strip. I'm telling you, this is a beautiful, I mean, everything looks brand new, but it is a beautiful area of the Las Vegas area, but it's Summerlin, Vegas, and it's, I guess you just call it Summerlin, Nevada.
Correct, yes.
And Summerlin is just absolutely beautiful. So we're going to be here for the next couple hours, and this year's a little bit different. And I can tell you that we're putting on a show. Everybody's here. So last year, it was kind of like a mixed match when you thought about who we were bringing to, and I don't even know who we played last year, but
Diamondbacks.
Was it the Diamondbacks? This year we're playing the Halos. We brought all the big hitters because they've had photo shoots. They all went to the Knights game, but they had photo shoots up at the Red Rocks. They had a photo shoot down at our new ballpark right on the Strip. I mean, you're getting Kurtz, you're getting Wilson, you're getting Rooker, you're getting Langoliers. We're putting on a show for you the next 2 days that we brought the A squad for the most part. Now, a lot of them came in early for the photo shoot, so when we left on the plane, we actually flew on the Las Vegas Knights plane.
Oh, nice.
Here from Arizona, and it was a very quick flight. But I'm super jazzed about this because, you know, usually when you have these still exhibitions, they'll bring X amount of guys, but they'll leave X amount of guys behind. Not this one. We're bringing a lot of the A crew and excited about today's starter. We are going to talk a lot about Vegas, and we're going to talk about a lot about the move. But from a baseball standpoint, you got to be excited that Gage Jump is on the mound today. So when you want to look towards what we're seeing in 2026, look no further than one of the young guns who is going to be a big part of our future. And, I mean, who knows when he'll be up in Sacramento. But Gage Jump, who is very familiar with this ballpark, the left-hander, and coming out of LSU, it's going to be good to see him with the big club. This will be, for a lot of the players, I believe the games are sold out. And This will be more like a regular season game than what you've been doing. Just, you're going to play, the Mariners, the Padres, or Peoria. You're going to Rangers, Royals, and Surprise, or Goodyear. You're doing Cincinnati or Cleveland. It's a spring training. This will have, because this ballpark is incredible. Las Vegas Ballpark is, like, I was down below today. Their facilities are as good as any in the major leagues. They dumped a ton of money into this ballpark. It is absolutely beautiful. I mean, if you just extended it around, it would look like a big league ballpark. I mean, the bar area behind home plate that sits above home plate, I mean, it's all big league. They got suites, the whole thing. So gauge jump pitching, packed house, going to be fun the next 2 days here in Summerlin, Nevada, as the Athletics will be taking on the Los Angeles Angels of Disneyland, Anaheim, Orange County. What is their official name this year? Are they still the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, which is it is an utterly ridiculous name with a franchise that has zero direction going right now.
I just call them the Angels. I don't need to put a city on them because we don't know if they want to identify as Los Angeles or Anaheim or Disneyland, Orange County, whatever other cities down there. They only have, like, I make the joke all the time. They don't have a lot of fans, and 2 of them are here. We just saw my wife and father-in-law walk by. That's 2 of the 8 Angel fans I know.
They used to get $3 million a year. They were pounding the fan base every single year. They were one of the more rock-solid fan bases in all of baseball. $3 million a year. Always competitive. I mean, the run that they had with Mike Scioscia, they had a championship. But, I mean, you could guarantee every year they were getting $3 million into that ballpark. And to think now where they are, it's hard. We were talking brands this morning, and how you build a brand, and how do you want to build a brand? How do you sustain a brand? I mentioned I had this little brand meeting earlier today, and I think one of the great examples, and I brought this up, is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Because everybody now looks at the Dodgers like, oh my God, they got swagger. It's LA. Wasn't that long ago. Their brand was in the toilet, right? You had Frank McCourt. You had Frank McCourt divorce. You had Frank McCourt doesn't have money. You have the Dodgers. You have bankruptcy court. They were a mess. No one was talking World Series. No one was talking about people wanting to play for the Dodgers. That wasn't that long ago. So it shows you how quickly you can change your brand, change your image. Now everybody wants to play for the Dodgers. Now all we talk about is the Dodgers. I'll tell you, not that long ago, no one was saying that when it was the Frank McCourt Dodgers. So that's what excites me about the brand that we're building, and that, I talked about earlier today, is you just don't put your big toe in. You got to jump all the way into the pool of the Las Vegas A's. And, the Las Vegas, it is what it is. We are moving to Vegas. It is exciting times. And don't believe, remember, the social media stuff, kind of like callers do a post-game show or a talk show. The stuff that you see like on X is such a small percentage of what reality is. People want to take that as the reality. It's not. It really is a small percentage. Everything that we have ever done down here, because we've stayed a lot at MGM Grand and walked around and talked to people who work at the casino, who work in that environment, because we've experienced the environment of watching the Las Vegas Knights, watching their games in, and watching how the fans go back onto the Strip, which is just, our ballpark's going to be on the other side. It's just going to be the reverse traffic, and to see how everybody interacts. They can't wait for it to happen here. It's going to be special. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to have not only a destination spot, really almost like an international team, what we will be, but you're going to have all the locals. As Jason Giambi, A's Hall of Famer, said it best, who lives here, when you're in the summertime and it's hot in Las Vegas, you can only put your kids in the pool for so long. He says, we need a place to take kids. We need a place for families to go during the day. It's going to be perfect. When you think of day games and Saturdays and Sundays, it's going to be a perfect environment for the party, and it's going to be the perfect environment. It's going to be the mix, right? The place to be, and also it's going to be a place for the families. It's going to be a dual thing. Cannot wait.
Last night when my wife and I got in from when we landed at the airport and we went over to where we're staying at the MGM, and we saw like they were getting ready for the night's game, and the game was just starting, and we got done. We walked across the street, had dinner at New York, and just the amount of people filtering out of T-Mobile Arena, both Wild and Knights fans, it was incredible to see just that many people at a hockey game, but also what people are doing after a game ended at 9 o'clock, because we're so used to in Northern California, in the Bay Area, and San Jose, when a game's over, usually people go home. They don't go out in downtown San Jose. So here, you got everything. The world is your oyster, essentially, when you come out to downtown Las Vegas on the Strip. So it was really cool to see that, and I'm hoping, it's kind of the same thing, and it probably will be the same thing when we move down here in 2028.
That's what it will be. I mean, all those properties are MGM properties. You're going to exit the stadium, and the flow goes right back onto the Strip to all these properties that are MGM, New York, Park MGM, Excalibur, Lexor, Mandalay Bay. The same thing happens with the Knights. The same thing happens with the Aces. The same thing happens with the Raiders. It's the business model, and it makes so much sense of bringing all these people into the Strip, and then they filter out into the restaurants, bars, casinos. And that's exactly, when you think about what people are trying to do in all of sports, it's one of the reasons why people liked Petco Park in San Diego so much, because that infrastructure was already there. That was not the case with Pac-Bell Park. When Pac-Bell Park was built in San Francisco, there was essentially Momo's across the street, and that was it. Now, it has grown a lot since Pac-Bell Park opened up in, I believe, was that 01 or 2000? But Petco Park in San Diego, the downtown was already built. So when you put the stadium there, the infrastructure with all the restaurants and all the things to do was already there. Well, that's kind of, that's the great thing about what we're doing. The Strip obviously is already there. And where we're going to be at Las Vegas Boulevard, it's the busiest intersection, foot traffic in the United States of America is right where we are. So everything, the infrastructure, the casinos, everything is built right there. The parking, everything is right there. We just put a ballpark there and it's ready to rock. I mean, the amount of restaurants that will be within a 5-minute walk, as you mentioned, as you walked across to New York. I mean, it's like last night we were at Caesars, had dinner last night. They're not booing, they're coozing.
Some heavy hitters.
Yes. Kevin Kuzmanoff, former Athletic, now a coach. Brian McArm, also with the Aviators. And then I sat next to and had the pleasure to break bread with the leader of men. It's not often that you can break bread with one of the great leaders in this country, the great Fran Reardon, manager of the Las Vegas Aviators. Bobby Crosby was with us, but we ate at Peter Luger's, which is the famous steakhouse since like 1883 in Brooklyn. Check that. Make sure it's Brooklyn. I do not want to get this wrong.
What was it, Peter Luger's?
Peter Luger's is a famous steakhouse out of New York. They have it in Caesars. Unbelievable.
Well, it has 15,000 reviews for the one.
Peter Luger. It's like 18.
It is in at 178 Broadway, New York, Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn. It's in Brooklyn. What did I say?
You said Brooklyn.
I said Brooklyn. Yeah. So it's been there since like 1883 or whatever. But it's in Caesars. Unbelievable. Here's what we're gonna do. We are going to figure out a list of like the top 100 restaurants, and we're going to knock them off one by one. Because every casino you go to, and I love the Strip. So it's so funny when people go, you're not going to be on the Strip. We're working on the Strip. I'm not coming to the entertainment capital of the United States, Las Vegas, Nevada, to go hang out in the suburbs. We're going to be working on the Strip. I want to eat on the Strip. I want to experience the Strip. We're going to knock out all the top restaurants in Las Vegas. I cannot wait. And then we're going to give you reviews. I can tell you right now, Caesars, Peter Luger's, out of Brooklyn, New York, they've been doing steak their way for a long, the sizzling butter on the steak when it comes, to die for. One of the best steak experiences, and I've eaten at steakhouses across this country. Definitely one of, and I've always heard you got to go to Peter Luger's. Well, I'm not going to be in Brooklyn anytime soon. So instead, that's the beautiful thing. You can do it in Vegas. So many of these great places around the country that you may not be able to get there, they got them here in Vegas. And I knocked off one of the great ones last night, Peter Luger's with the great Fran Reardon.
Well, real quick, I want to promote this as we're going to be playing 6 games here in the regular season. The A's will play 6 regular season games at Las Vegas Ballpark in June. And the ticket pack is your chance to be part of the action. Lock in your seats for big league matchups and exciting promo giveaways at athletics.com/LV6. You can get a baseball jersey, a cap, a ballpark blueprint poster, and then also you'll get a Nick Kurtz bobblehead. That's some of the giveaways we're giving away. That's that week against the Brewers and Rockies. Athletics.com/LV6. So, Fran Reardon.
All 6 games, we have giveaways.
Yep.
And you're taking on the Rockies, but you're taking on the Brewers, who we believe are still going to be one of the better teams in baseball. Anything can happen year to year, but they've been very competitive now for years, making the playoffs year after year after year. Will they lead baseball in wins this year in the regular season? I would venture to say no. That's going to be tough to do, but you're going to be seeing, not so much with the Rockies, but with the Brewers, you're going to be seeing one of the better teams in all of baseball.
Yeah, what they did last year, 97 wins. They've added some guys this offseason, not household names, but they have guys. They still have Yelich, Jackson Chourio, a young player that a lot of people like. It's going to be exciting to see them, and they're going to be a team fighting for the first place in the NL Central, so that's going to be a great series. The Rockies, they'll be better than last year. Can't be much worse.
Yeah.
They won 43. I think I will. I'm not going to go on a limb here, but I think they're going to win more than 43 games this year.
We just saw him yesterday. I tell you what, Eric Karros' kid, Eric Karros, you see him on Fox Sports now doing baseball, former Athletic, really known as a Dodger, had a great career, big first baseman. His son has been caught. He was a first-round pick, wasn't he?
I think so. Kyle Karras, right?
He is basically a identical kind of like body with his dad.
5th rounder in 2023.
But he's athletic. His dad wasn't athletic. Eric Karros had a great career. He was a great Dodger. This kid is like a better athletic version of his father. And we saw him yesterday. And one of the scouts, one of Johnny's buddies who's a scout goes, oh, yeah, Karros' kid, legit. This kid, like, if you were to buy stock in a Rocky, you buy stock. He's like, you're like, who are you going to want to see? Who are you going to want to see? You're going to want to see Eric Karros' kid. Wasn't he Kyle Karros?
Kyle, yeah. Kyle
yeah,
Karras.
This kid is God. He had a bomb against us yesterday.
He was a 5th-round pick in 2023, and he's young, and the Rockies need some young player. I mean, that Chris Bryant deal is not really working out for them, so they're going to need someone to attract fans to the ballpark because the days of Charlie Blackmon, those days are gone. So I'm glad to hear that Karros' kid is one of the guys they're looking at because we saw Dollander pitch, who's like their top pitching guy. So maybe these guys are playing much better when they come here to play the Athletics in Vegas.
I'm trying to sell it.
I know you are. And
it's got to be 2 out of 3. Has to be a guaranteed 2 out of 3. But anyway, the Brewers, I'm almost, you better get on and get those tickets now because I believe it's just about sold out in June. Like we're basically sold out the next 2 days. Yeah, we're coming to town real baseball. You better get the tickets. There's giveaways every single game. We're going to be sold out.
Athletics.com/LV6 if you want to get your tickets for that series. So I wanted to ask you about Fran Reardon, and you said going to dinner and breaking bread with the great leaders of men. Would you put him up there with someone like a General Eisenhower, General Patton?
Hey, Mike,
give me
the shirt real quick.
Some of the great leaders.
I had these guys come up, and I met these guys. When was it? Remember when we did the press conference? Ken Korak got up there and talked, and then John Fisher got up and talked, and the Sphere was behind them.
That was when we did the that was a year ago today, I believe. It was that was when we did the Las Vegas patch announcement for our jersey, I believe.
Is that when it was?
Yeah, it was last.
And we had Steve Hill on.
Yeah, I believe it was. And we talked to Rook. Yeah, it was a year ago today because I saw it on a memory on Instagram.
Okay, well, I got to meet a couple of these guys, and they brought this to my attention today. I want to hold this up.
So if you're not watching, Chris is holding up a shirt that's I'm trying to see because I'm looking at an angle.
It's the Sin City Stompers. It's a killer shirt. It's the elephant, and I did not realize that the famous "Welcome to Las Vegas" logo was never trademarked because the lady who designed it wanted it to be for everybody. I was like, that's badass. So that famous, the Welcome to Las Vegas, you see the sign, and you've seen it, that logo, and it's been everywhere for years. The lady who designed it, I guess, said, I want this to always be for anyone to use. Talk about being inviting.
Yeah, of course.
And so you can check them out, SinCityStoppers.com. That's SinCityStoppers.com. Shirts, hoodies, you name it. They brought it to my attention today. I went, that's pretty cool. SinCityStoppers.com. I said, send me some shirts. So for you and me, I'll wear the shirt on A's Cast Live.
Is that what you're talking about? Where you said Road Trip Mike got a full
so
wardrobe?
These guys come over me and they're like, hey, Towny. And I met one of these guys. He's a big real estate guy here. And he was at that event. And he was like, yeah, we've been doing this. And I'm like, hey, I like it. I like the concept. I don't believe it's violating the old trademark, right? So it's like, yeah, that's pretty. And I'm like, what about the Vegas? He goes, oh, that was never trademarked. So I'm like, oh, you guys are good. Yeah, send that to me. I'll wear it. And then I went from me getting, hey, I'll help you guys out. Send me a shirt. I'll wear it. I'll promote it. I think what you guys are doing is cool. To Road Trip Mike. Oh, hey, I'll wear it at every ballpark. So next, he's trying to get a wardrobe out of it. And then Road Trip Mike comes over and Bogarts and he's like, well, Towny was, I'm like, wait, no, they came to me and then you hopped on my back. Sometimes I have to remind Road Trip that I created him. I gave him the nickname. I made him before they ever put him on camera on television. I made this guy. Sometimes you gotta bring these celebrities down a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta. Well, we love to tear people down and build them up again, but we're not. There's no tearing Road Trip Mike down. You're always just building him up. So it's always something with Road
Melissa
Trip Mike.
Guzman. Come here. I want everybody to see. Come here. The great Melissa Guzman.
She's the one that helps with all the alumni.
She helps with all the alum, and she takes care of all the wives and the kids and does all of that. But more importantly, she sits with us during games in Sacramento. She learned really what it's like to watch baseball every day with baseball degenerates. Was it shocking just how awful it is to watch baseball with us?
No, I'm well educated and informed, and I love it.
And you realize how just crude and bad we really are behind. Once we get off the microphone and off the cameras, we're different people.
No, you're great. I love every minute of it. It's great, honestly.
All right, so this year, are you looking forward to another big year in Sacramento? Because I know it was a transition. I talked to everybody about the biggest thing about transition for us is we're going to have normalcy. We'll have more normalcy for the players, a big thing for normalcy for them. Everybody just thinks about, oh my God, Severino in this room in the clubhouse. It's for the wives. It's for the kids. Because when mama's happy and the kids are happy, players can be a little more relaxed.
That's exactly right. And I love working with all the local businesses in Sacramento. So we're always trying to do more workshops and women empowerment, any activities we can do. So I'm ready. I'm ready to explore and ready to work with more businesses.
There we go. She's famous. She's one of the big wigs in our organization.
We're waiting for Chavez, by the way. So, okay.
Well, that's something that I've really tried to make a point of this year, and that's why we wanted to bring Melissa on, is when you talk about the chaos that's been around the players and the movement and one city to the next city and where you're going to live and let's face it. Somebody is helping these guys. Like I was talking to Lawrence Butler. Lawrence Butler's agents are helping him find places. You think Lawrence Butler was traveling to Oakland, or now Lawrence Butler was going to Sacramento and going, where do I want to live?
Yeah, where do I want? Downtown, Roseville.
Come on, man. There's somebody doing something for these guys. So it's like now this is 1 year being more comfortable. And that's why it's good, because we don't think about them off the field as Brent Rooker has his beautiful wife and 2 little girls. Like, you got to figure out, like, how's everybody going to be good, right? We have a lot of players who are recently married, who have recently have children. They are just engaged. They got a lot going on, right? They're just not baseball players. They're just like you and me. They have lives away from the field. So you have to make sure as a baseball team, how do we make wives, kids, everybody feel comfortable also? So Melissa's job is, and Deetra Page, who is a legend with the Athletics, is we need to make sure that the players are settled off the field, and especially when their significant others and children come to the ballpark. Well, this year will be, now everybody knows the deal. Nothing is new anymore. So for the players, just not playing at the ballpark in West Sacramento, knowing their digs, knowing how to get to the ballpark, knowing where they're going to live, it's all more normalized. The stuff with the wife and kids and now wives and still some fiancés, and now it's just going to be a year of we're comfortable now. I think for you and me, right? Like now I know I'm going to be at my hotel, the same hotel, for probably 80 something dates. I know my route to the ballpark. I know where to eat. I know where to go. Everything was so new to me last year. Now it won't be new, right? So for all of us, but no one cares about you and me. They care about the players. And so the players' life on and off the field, I can see everybody being far more comfortable with their digs, because we actually played better on the road last year than we did at home. That's not normal.
No. I mean, we saw how it started. How the team played at the ballpark in West Sac to start the season, and then finally, as I think they got more established in Sacramento, the team started playing better at home, and then hopefully that carries over to this year, and we see a better home record, and we see push towards the postseason, because you need to improve that home record if you want to be a playoff team for sure. Winning on the road is great, but usually when you win on the road, that means you win at home. That's a
big breakdown right there.
I know.
Wow.
So why they pay me the big bucks to talk about baseball.
You want to win at home.
Yeah, you want to win in front of the home fans.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I mean, so I've been doing this almost 30 years, and I didn't know that you want to win in front of the home fans. I mean, usually I was thinking you want to win on the road so you could stick it to the road fans.
Yeah, you want to stick it to the Yankee fans and Red Sox. Yeah,
but you want to win at home too.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
There you go.
Somebody say it's bigger than winning on the road.
Maybe you could write like the Baseball for Dummies edition.
Along with
you want to win at home.
It's like what was the book that our buddy Anthony Castrovince wrote from MLB.com, the Modern Guide to Analytics.
Yeah,
we can write one, but Modern Guide to Fanning.
Yeah, winning is good. Winning is better than losing. By Cody Elias.
That's correct.
All right, coming up next, we're gonna have Scott Hatteberg, who is a big part of our athletics front office, right here on A's Cast Live.
The time is now. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun. Spring training is back as the Athletics get ready for the 2026 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Dodgers, Giants, Cubs, Padres, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 season tickets at the A's Ballpark in Las Vegas for just $19.01. The amount honors the founding year of the Athletics franchise in 1901. By joining the priority list, you'll get an early opportunity to grab season tickets before they go on sale to the public, while also supporting youth baseball and softball programs across Southern Nevada. To secure your spot, visit athletics.com/Vegas.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game time, schedules, and more. The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
Baseball is back and big league action has never been more affordable. For a limited time, grab your tickets to see the A's in West Sacramento for just $8. That's right, only $8 for select games this April and May. Catch the showdowns against the Royals, Cardinals, and American League West rivals, the Mariners and the Rangers. Whether it's a midweek getaway or an afternoon at the park, don't miss your chance to see your A's for less than the price of a ballpark snack. Tickets are moving fast. Head to athletics.com, that's athletics.com, to secure your seats today. American League Rookie of the Year Nick Kurtz joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live to discuss his historic 2025 campaign and becoming the first Athletic to win the award since 2009.
Yeah, it was awesome. When it kind of got announced, we were all in Hawaii together. Willie was in the same room as me when we were on the show, so that was really cool to kind of celebrate, as a team.
When you look back, what do you think of when you look back in this Rookie of the Year season? You had the monstrous game in Houston, historic game. What are the things that you really reflected on?
Just kind of the whole year as a whole. When you look at any kind of season, you have the parts where you feel really good at the plate. You have the days where you feel really bad, and then the majority is you're just trying to do what you can do that day to put the ball in play and get a base hit. It's not a good day if you don't get the team win as well. So that's kind of what I've reflected the most about is, I did all these great things, but it's got to lead to October. And that's the most important thing.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
One of the biggest things for me now is you think about where we were years ago with the Athletics. Scott Hatteberg joins us here now with the Athletics front office, obviously as a player and as someone, one of our Salty Tom from Salt Lake City, one of our longtime callers just said to you, the greatest home run in Athletics history. It's so interesting where we've come and where we are now, to where we have all these fans who are now finding us in Las Vegas and finding us. We're here in Summerlin, Nevada, and people from so many different places, just this sense of new and building something. It's really exciting. You got to talk to a bunch of the fans and sign autographs today.
Yeah, it was pretty cool because there was just people from all over the place, so I know it's like a flux position. I feel like we're sleeping on a couch a little bit as an organization, we're couch surfing right now, but the history has not gone anywhere. And I just, people coming up and, recollecting their stories that they had, that impacted them on the A's history is pretty amazing. And they're coming from all over and they're meeting here. Nobody was really from here. And so I was here. It was interesting to see just that cross section of folks and stories. So history is rich. I know we're moving, but history's rich.
All right. Before we get into all the stuff you guys are doing with the front office, you're very humble about it. I know. It's been some time now, but but you did hit one of the biggest home runs, and it was a big part of a best-selling book, and then a movie that was up for a couple Oscars, including Best Film. It's a big deal. And now that you have time and fans still come up to you to talk about it, what is that like years later to know that in a franchise history, you hit a home run and you're part of something that most franchises have never seen turn into a movie?
Yeah, that part is so surreal. You hit. Listen, I'm so proud of the moment. I get chills to this day. I can never get sick of watching it. But it was so, I get a lot of credit for hitting that homer and us winning. But there were so many components. There were so many guys that were so good on that team.
Yeah.
Like the pitching staff doesn't get its due. I'm sitting there with Eric Chavez. Actually, me learning to play first base with Mark Ellis, Miguel Tejada, and Eric. It was like sitting in with the Beatles and you're just learning how to freaking play guitar or something. They were so good. Gold Glovers across the board. Ramon Hernandez. Anyway, I get sometimes I always feel a little guilty with some of the credit I get for hitting the homer, but I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of that team. And just to be a part of, like you said, the history, there's so much history in that group to just put your fingerprint on it. A bit of it is just, I don't know. Like I said, it gives me chills.
Well, this past year in Sacramento, when we inducted the Big Three, getting the band back together, you just started to realize that era, because my career started around 97, and then to kind of watch it, here comes Jason Giambi. I got to play against Giambi in college, and then one of my first gigs ever was doing play-by-play, and Miguel Tejada was this young kid with the Modesto A's, and then to kind of see the Big Three, and then what you guys had in 02, just that era. How great is that? Because when you guys get back together, you guys are all older now, but it's like you guys all morph back into who you were at that point.
Yeah. As soon as we get together, it's just like the walls go up and we're in the locker room. It's hard to say, they talk about chemistry and building it and whatever. I don't know how you do it. I think it's just an organic thing, but that group had it. It was so tight and so cohesive. It was competitive without being, bad competitive. It was just everybody pushed each other. I was an old guy on that group. I think I was probably, early 30s, and they were all just young, fresh-faced, young kids and so full of talent. Weekly you could just see them getting better. So it was contagious. Their energy, their work ethic. It was a special group, and when we get back together, it's just there's nothing better.
Now, I know the Dodgers have won 2 in a row, but we had this run with a lot of different winners.
Yeah.
If you go back to that era, though, that was a really stacked. There were certain teams that were stacked. You knew who was playing for the World Series, and you were knee deep. I mean, obviously, it was a PED era, but we had some. I mean, the Yankees were super talented. You had the Red Sox were talented. The Twins were talented. The A's were talented. You guys had absolute battles against these powerhouse teams. You knew who the good teams were and who were the teams that really were going to battle to represent the American League in the World Series.
No, you knew who you were going through, and it was a build-up. And I mean, the Angels, just the battles we won. I remember for the year with us winning 20 in a row, I think we gained 3 games on the Angels. That's how good they played right in that whole stretch. So, man, there were teams that were hunting us, that were in that hunt. We knew who they were, and you just had to play your best. And it took pitching, defense, and timely hitting, and all those teams did it. But it honestly, knowing it and facing them, makes you better. And these kids, they had that youth side where there's a little ignorance is bliss.
Yeah,
and I think that helped.
Well, when we talk about Scott Hatteberg joins us here as we're A's Cast live here in downtown Summerlin. By the way, downtown Summerlin's beautiful.
Oh my gosh,
wow.
Kidding me? Yeah, I think
I already called the wife and went, we may want to look for a place here. This is really nice.
Get in quick. It's going to get expensive, I think. No, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So I was thinking about what Grady Fuson. I know you work closely with Grady. He was a baseball legend, obviously. And where Grady has said that one of the toughest things to do, and you now being the front office, and you can attest to this, is you build a core. Yeah. But a lot of teams build a core, and you see it with either position players or with pitchers. Mm-hmm. It's tough to have both at the same time, right? It's really tough, and usually if you can do that, you might get a few rings.
Yeah.
Do you see us at this point? Because all of a sudden now, when we're now getting graded as one of the top 5 teams with a minor league system. Obviously, the young core that we have now, they're all signing on. Are you seeing us actually building the position players and the pitchers at the same time?
Yes. It's hard to do both things. I mean, obviously, just drafting is hard, but then signing free agents is expensive. You can just look at the market. It's hard to be balanced in both. I think we've positioned ourselves where the core of players is coming to fruition and building, and there's a pitcher group similar, I think, just coming behind them. And I think, fingers crossed, you don't want to get too excited, but there is a young, like you said, balanced group of pitching and position players on its way. I mean, it's a couple years out, but there's some really fun, exciting arms that I haven't seen in this organization for quite some time. So they're coming.
2 days ago at Diablo Stadium, we saw Luis Morales. We know how when I look at him, I see the athleticism, the build. It's just effortless stuff, whether you want to talk velocity, movement. Obviously, he's very special. What we're going to see today here with Gage Jump. Talk about Gage Jump, because I have a feeling, a sneaky suspicion, we're going to see him in Sacramento this year.
Yeah, I think he's just one of those guys that he's just high IQ. He's advanced. He's just advanced pitcher. I haven't seen a ton of him play this spring, but obviously he's an amateur, and we were really thought highly of him. He was a great interview at the combine. He's just he's one of those just mature guys, and he knows his stuff. He knows how to get guys out. He's going to be a quick mover, and he's going to be an impact guy for us. It's going to be fun to see him throw today.
What does it mean to you when you see Brent Rooker sign, and then it was Lawrence Butler, and you went, okay, got something here, but then all of a sudden this year, when you see Tyler Soderstrom and now Jacob Wilson, and hopefully it's going to be Shea and Kurtz coming up here, but when you see these young players, to me it's obviously committing to the organization, but they're really committing to each other as like brothers. Like, we want to play together, forget arbitration, forget free agency. I'm committing to you, you're committing to me. What does that mean from a front office perspective when you're seeing these young players do that?
Well, it's that organic chemistry I'm talking about. I think that they understand that it's like a mature understanding of, there's a lot of kids that come up, they just want to stay and they want to play. But I think there's bigger picture kids. They're so talented. They understand that them staying together is how you get to a championship. And I think it's a wise way of looking at it, because you can go around chasing dollars and this and that and have some really long seasons. But when you get on a team, and I was fortunate to be on some really, really talented good ones, you get on a team that can be that cohesive and be that talent and stay together. That's how you do special things and raise trophies. So I think that they understand that, and they're trying to build, for that goal.
Well, you got to play on both coasts. You got to play in big markets. You got to play in Boston.
Yep.
And I'll never forget, it was, right after Christmas, we were here. We were doing the Tyler Soderstrom signing, and Tyler Soderstrom's agents from Octagon. Octagon is one of the biggest agencies in the world.
Yep.
They represent Olympians. They represent every single sport. And we were with his agents right on the field of the new ballpark. And it was David Force, Mark Kotze, myself, his agents, and the agents for Octagon were, everybody's going to want to come play here. He was like, no state taxes, looking around going, this is incredible.
Yeah.
You played all over Major League Baseball. Just talk about how once we open in 2028, the agents, the players, this is going to be a destination place in Major League Baseball.
Oh, you hit it right on the head. I mean, and it's a little more centrally located. I mean, there's the travel part of is even nice too. I mean, there's a ton of draws. I mean, it's hard to find negatives. I just think that it's going to be combine it with the talent, the location, like you said, no state taxes. I mean, you're already seeing that rear its head in some of the free agent stuff. I mean, people are going to want to play here. So I'm excited. It's going to be, we got the core, the big thing, the core is being built. Stadium is being built. It's all lining up. I'm excited.
Well, to take people behind the curtain, we've wanted to put this guy on television. We did for a while. You were fantastic.
Yeah. Oh.
But you don't want the camera. You want the baseball life.
Oh, I got a little of that in me. I'm still trying to beat it out. I got that itch. I got to keep scratching. I like, I get to do some scouting, and I get on the field, and I get to tinker with the players and get in uniform. So I'm loving kind of the hybrid-y role, and I don't see myself going anywhere anytime too soon.
What's your favorite part?
Favorite part? Oh, God, it's a good question. It's hard to say. I think that we rely so heavily on the draft part. We just can't hit the market like, say, the Dodgers or, teams like that. The puzzle of scouting is kind of got into my blood a little bit, and there's truly an art to it. And there's some guys that are so good at it. And as a player, you think oh, I played. I see what this guy's going to be. It's different glasses. You got to really, as a player, you punch a lot of holes in things. And as a scout, you really got to kind of dream on kids. And I think that part is, I'm nowhere near I'm getting better, but there's some really great guys. That's satisfying when we pull a guy like Kurtz, 4th overall. I mean,
if you redrafted, he'd be 1.
If we were picking 1-1, we were when it came out that we were going to pick 4, we all hit our head because we all were like, no, we're not going to get him. I mean, we were taking Kurtz the whole time.
You guys, I was at the winter meetings. What year was that? Nashville or Dallas?
He would have been drafted in, so would have been Dallas.
You guys all had your daubers down.
So
you guys came. We were there doing our show. You got we're 4th.
Yeah.
You got Nick Kurtz. And you know
amazing.
What's so interesting about you, you are a hybrid. It's hard to explain what exactly you do, because you do kind of all of it.
Yeah. Well, I dabble in. Well, yeah, I get to do both. I mean, I think it's a dream role for a guy that played, and I love both sides of it. I think as a player, you're kind of immersed in one side, and it's what I know. I love teaching. I love talking, hitting. I love being with the players. But man, once you learn that, there's another locker room, and that's that scouting world. That's that development world where you might not know who they are, but it is the same kind of atmosphere and locker room and camaraderie. I mean, they bleed for the Oakland A's like you don't even know. And it's a contagious, great group. I'm so happy that I was able to be kind of exposed to it, and I love it. So it's like I got 2 locker rooms I get to hang out in, and it's just awesome.
Did you ever think you'd be that into it?
Man, I thought when I was done, I played till I was 39, and I thought, oh man, I'm beat. The everyday grind, the offers hurt more than the 3 for 4 days. You know what I mean? I got to the end of the playing rope, but man, your mind doesn't shut off. And I'm 39, and I'm like, it's still in you. You take that off season, and sure enough, February comes around, and you start getting antsy. It's time. It's that baseball clock. So it's still going off. As long as it's still going off, I'm going to still do it.
All right. Well, when you want to come back to television, let us know.
I like it.
We're always going to have a spot here.
Yeah,
it's always an honor.
Great talking to you.
And you know what? Enjoy when people come up and they tell you greatest home run in A's history.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right, you're good to go. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Eric Chavez is going to join. Do we want to break or do we want to just
we have
go?
time. We still about 12 minutes, so we have time.
Oh, all right. We're going from one legend to another. Doesn't get any better than this. Wasn't that long ago we were in Sacramento. You were in town, and when you were with the Mets, and it's great to have you here. And it's great to have you here wearing the green and gold and being able to say, because last time, obviously, you were at the Mets, you had the Mets stuff, because it's a big deal. It's like we never truly got to celebrate you, A's Hall of Famer, because, we had you had the little soundbite up on the scoreboard, but it is so great to really have you back.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I feel like this is right.
It is right.
Yeah, it feels right, and it's good to be here. It's wearing the green. It's been a while since I've done it, but it's always home. This was, the team that drafted me and gave me an opportunity, and Oakland. Well, I can't say Oakland anymore, but the A's is always home.
You
for me.
played in Oakland.
Yeah.
We're now in Sacramento, but we'll soon be in Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it is what
all good things. The future looks bright. The team looks young, talented, fun. The timing should be just right when they get here.
When I think about like the transition from Oakland to Sacramento to here, and like a lot of what we do, and we're thinking about the alumni, it was very tough to really map it out how we're going to do it. But now with what we're building here, having your generation back, because we just had the big three go in to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
It's like now you really have a home again. How does that feel for you? Like you can see your future as of whatever ambassador, if you want to come back and get in uniform, if you join me on television. I mean, there's so many different things. Like, how does that feel for you that, you are going to have a home here?
Yeah, no, it feels really good. The future for the A's in general, even fans, the excitement here locally here in Vegas, it's going to be special. You could just tell the renderings of the new ballpark and stadium, the AAA stadiums right here. It's all good things, and like I said, it does feel good to put on the green for me. It's been such a long time, but I never lost my touch and my love of my time with the A's. So it's who I am. It's kind of ingrained in me, and I'll be an A for life.
Yeah, it was tough because you had a job.
Yeah.
You're working for the Mets. So the Hall of Fame ceremony, I wish you would have been able to experience that like everybody else has. But what has that meant to you to be an A's Hall of Famer? Because when you think about being an A's Hall of Famer, you've got guys who are baseball Hall of Famers. You got, guys who are A's Hall of Famers or MVPs, and they've won Gold Gloves and they've won batting titles. You're talking about some of the greats of the great in the history of the game, and you're with them.
Yeah, it honestly, it means a lot. I know I kind of referenced this when when they did put me in. I didn't make any all-star teams or anything like that, and so to be recognized for your play, it's my biggest accomplishment, to be honest with you. I love my time with my teammates. The teams we had were so good. I wish we could have, won at least one World Series. I felt at least 2 or 3 times we had the better team. We just didn't win the game. So, but this is home. I love being here, and I'm looking forward to, reconnecting with some of the people that I know here, and hopefully something will manifest out of this, and I could be here for good.
Well, I'll tell you what, one guy who wanted me to tell you hello and he wants to see you is a former third baseman, and he said you were his guy growing up, Kevin Kuzminoff.
Okay. Oh, so yeah.
We had dinner last night,
nice.
And he wanted me to say, have him come over, because for his generation, you were the dude, right? You were winning the Gold Gloves. You had the power, the way you could hit. He was talking about your load last night at dinner.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you that a younger generation of third basemen, you were like their favorite player? You were the model because you were a two-way player.
Yeah, that's special when players recognize you, and because when I go back and I remember watching Ricky and the A's back in the day with Ricky's batting gloves and his flair. That's what you hope to do, is you hope to inspire the next generation. And there's at my time there was tons of good third basemen, like A-Rod was there, Scott Rowland, Beltre. The list goes on, and just to be kind of a part of that group and recognized as one of the better third basemen was, it's very special for me for sure.
In an era when you were playing, everybody was talking about offensive numbers. and you were racking up. Can you imagine if they would have had the platinum glove when you played? You would have got a couple of those. But, to win all those gold gloves, people need to realize to be a two-way player, to really be good on defense and be a factor on defense and be a factor on offense, really, really hard to do. Talk about how much it meant to you, but also meant a ton of work that you and Wash that you put in to be a great third baseman.
Yeah, even further back than Wash was Ron Plaza, Papa Plaza, long time representation of the A's. But defense was very important to me because I wanted to do anything to help win the game. That's literally all I cared about. I was just so infatuated with winning. I hated losing, and I just wanted to win. And so whether that be, a stolen base or, making all the plays, the routine plays, that was so important to me. I remember it was early on in my career, and TJ Matthews was on the mound. And I vividly remember this because
he's from Vegas.
Yeah,
TJ
that's right.
Matthews,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I had 2 plays back to back. Balls go right underneath my legs. And I remember TJ looking at me like I swear it was like, this guy's going to kill me. And but I went home that night and I realized my play is affecting his career, his way of making a living. And so I took it that personal, where it was like, these guys are doing what they need to do. I need to do my job, at least the routine plays. And so I always was working hard at it in the minor leagues. It was very important to me. But at that moment, I realized I'm catching every single ball I possibly can because I'm affecting that guy's life.
I will always find it interesting that I remember doing interviews with you at the very end of your time with the A's, and the belief was your back was so bad that was it for you.
Yeah.
And you played a lot of years after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you shocked when you look back of where it was ending with the Athletics, and then how many more teams, how many more years, playoffs, you end up playing it?
Yeah, I did. I'm shocked I got this many years out of this body for sure, because it was –
You wouldn't have bet on that.
No way. I mean, it was beat up from high school. I'd hurt my back in high school. I needed labrum surgery right away. When I went to instructional aid, my shoulder was terrible. So the fact that I got 16 years, but honestly, with my back, I went to New York and I just had access to people that were really good at what they did and helping me get my body prepared. And there were certain things with my hips and that I found out that, I needed to take care of. And I found a guy that could, he was seeing a bunch of us Yankees when I was over there. We would go see him in Manhattan, and he would work on us for 2 hours. And he kind of really helped me get over that hump. The other part of that too was my mental state in Oakland was always, I have to drive in 100, hit 30. And as long as I was in an A's uniform, I don't think I would have been able to switch my mindset. And then when I went to New York and there's Hall of Famers all over the clubhouse, I just realized, man, you just have to give 4 quality at bats. Like, I wasn't worried about producing numbers. I just wanted to do my job. I wanted to make the routine plays, and I wanted to give Girardi 4 good quality at bats whenever I played. And so that helped my mentally kind of get over that hump that I think if I would have stayed in Oakland, I don't think mentally I would have been able to do that.
That's why I have talked about you on the show about why no matter what your role is in an organization, you have something to give everybody, because you have the star players getting awards. You have the guy that's struggling with his physical health, a guy who's a veteran guy and a leader. What you did later on in your career, which wasn't your bats, it's also what you had to give. You've now been a hitting coach. There's so many different ways that you can help these young men, because now with all the data and everything, we've got all of that, but there's also the mental side that these guys really need help with.
For sure.
You have the ability, because you just did all the analytics, you did everything with biomechanics and everything with hitting.
Right.
There's so much you have to talk about that. There's so much you have to offer from your career as a player and a coach to give players right now in modern day baseball.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I was the hitting coach. I didn't really fancy myself as just the hitting coach. I really did value, having conversations with these guys. I remember having a conversation with Brandon Nimmo. This was before he signed his deal.
Yeah.
he had trouble staying on the field. And that was one of the first things I did in spring training is I sat him down and we talked about the importance of managing his day because he's such a high, energy guy. He's sprinting everywhere. He gets a walk. He sprints the first. And we just talked about kind of finding ways to save his body and his him being able to stay on the field for 145 games was going to be the key to his success, because if you're on the field, you're going to rack up numbers. But if you're constantly battling the injuries and you're off, and I know if you're on the injured list and the disabled list, it's hard to produce over a full year when you're not getting 145 games. So him staying on the field was really important. And those conversations I really valued, because that's why I wanted to stay in the game, right? We have a lot of guys that have made so much money in this game. They don't want to work, they want to go do other adventures or stuff like that. But when I came through, I valued players before me. Like I was infatuated with, what do you do? What are you thinking? Like I would pick any brain if you played. I may not even liked what you were saying, but I was going to ask you to get your perspective on what you do. So that's why I love what I do when I was in the game. I'd like to stay in the game in some capacity just for that point. Yeah, I definitely want to. And like I said, hopefully there'll be a relationship built here and I can get back in an A's uniform or just within the organization. But it's all the stuff's out there, the hitting gurus, and we've added so much. Let's keep it simple. Like it's a hard baseball game. Let's not make it any harder with all these thoughts and feelings and where should my hand be? And that's the message to these guys. Keep it simple. Have a few key points that you need to think about, and then go compete.
Who would have thought the kid from Mount Carmel High School would actually be a teacher? Because when you're a star athlete growing up, you were a shortstop. We draft shortstops because we can put them. They're the best athletes. Who would have thought you would later on really enjoy the teaching? You're a teacher.
Yeah, so my last 2 years in Arizona, I knew it was getting towards the end because I really didn't enjoy seeing myself in the lineup. I really wanted to go and kind of mentor some of the Paul Goldschmidts and a couple of the younger players. I really enjoyed that more than actually playing. Like physically, it was so hard for me to get on the field. I'd have to drain my knee. I couldn't play for 3 days. And so it was really hard for me to put on the uniform and play physically. But I looked forward to going there and mentoring the younger players. And that's when I kind of knew, okay, the window's closing here. It's time for me to move on. And but I wanted to stay in the game. I want to give back. Like you said, I've had a lot of experiences, good and bad. I've seen so many good players with their routines and what they do. And so, I just want to pass it on and stay in the game and help these guys become the best versions of themselves. And it's not always the physical tools, because like you said, all the physical stuff's out there, the biomechanics, and guys are throwing 100, and we got really good athletes, but still the mental part of the game, I don't care analytics. I don't care for the rest of, sports is going to be around. The mental part of sports is still way bigger than anything physical.
You're an A's Hall of Famer. You're home. You look great. You're going to be around here for a long time. You're one of our great players of all time for the Athletics, and we always appreciate your time. We'd like to have more of you because you have a lot to give this game.
I'm available, so.
He's the best. We got more coming up next right here from downtown Summerlin on A's Cast Live.
Baseball is back, and big league action has never been more affordable. For a limited time, grab your tickets to see the A's in West Sacramento for just $8. That's right, only $8 for select games this April and May. Catch the showdowns against the Royals, Cardinals, and American League West rivals, the Mariners and the Rangers. Whether it's a midweek getaway or an afternoon at the park, don't miss your chance to see your A's for less than the price of a ballpark snack. Tickets are moving fast. Head to athletics.com, that's athletics.com, to secure your seats today.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'sCast. That's athletics.com/A'sCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'sCast today.
Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 season tickets at the A's Ballpark in Las Vegas for just $19.01. The amount honors the founding year of the Athletics franchise in 1901. By joining the priority list, you'll get an early opportunity to grab season tickets before they go on sale to the public, while also supporting youth baseball and softball programs across Southern Nevada. To secure your spot, visit athletics.com/Vegas.
Tyler Soderstrom joined Chris Townsend to talk about his breakout 2025 season, his new 7-year contract extension, and his commitment to the future of the Athletics.
There was some conversation right at the end of the season last year with what they were planning to come to us with. So we had a good idea. I knew that they were going to come to us with something in November, and they came with their first offer. Everything is a negotiating process, so there was that whole process. My agent, Garrett Parcell, did a great job at Paragon Sports of kind of let me and my wife and my family just kind of sit back and let them kind of handle all of the whole process of it. And, we ended up coming to terms. So it was something that I wanted to do. I love this organization. I got drafted by them. My relationships that I've built, that's what's important to me. So I'm just excited, to be here for the long term. And, like I said, just super blessed.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast. Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 A's season tickets in Las Vegas for just $19.01, honoring the franchise's 1901 founding year. Join the list for early ticket opportunities and support youth baseball and softball in Southern Nevada. Visit athletics.com/Vegas.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
A's Cast Live continues from A's Spring Training. Here's Chris Townsend.
I don't know what year it was, but it was a while ago. And recently I had somebody with the Athletics said, Mick Akers, you got to have him on the program. Las Vegas for you, Junior. I'm like, oh, I know him. We've been doing business together for a long time, dating way, way back when we first knew about the Raiders potentially moving to Las Vegas. And, of course, I was working for the Raiders at the time. So we've done a lot of interviews together, my friend. It is always good to see you. And I just want to say you've knocked it out of the ballpark once again. There's always people who go, he's not telling you the truth. And then the reality is you see the buildings being built and you go, I told you so.
Yeah, you can only convince people so much, even if they see it happening before their eyes. So they can go ahead and be like, kind of Debbie Downers, but reality is reality. It's coming out of the ground.
You've been in Vegas for so long, and you just want to tell people Vegas builds things. They will get it done. This is how it works in the desert.
Yeah, you saw Legion Stadium come up in about less than 3 years. That's even twice the size of the A's ballpark. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit taller than the Legion Stadium, but they've seen all these hotels sprout over the years, especially since the 90s. Once something starts getting built, it gets done. There's a few things that people keep pointing out. Hey, this thing didn't get built. Oh, this thing took so long.
Yes.
Fontainebleau. There's mitigation measures in place now for that not to happen. So that's like poking the dead horse. It's like, this is well over $300 million into it now. It's like it's going all the way through the finish line.
All right. So I listened to a podcast that you were on. It was a local journalist and a social media guy who I'm not going to bring up because he's always wrong. And you just had to sit there and you're like, it's getting built. It's getting built. It's getting built. And it's like not till it gets built and then they go away, but then they don't ever come back and talk about how they were wrong. Have you noticed that?
No, they'll never admit they're wrong. Like the 4% of the time they're right. They'll say it all day long, but once they're wrong, they kind of, hide under the sheets and, kind of act like it never happened. So it's just the way that it works with the people on the internet, right? It's like they're going to be really loud. Once they're wrong, they're going to tuck their tail and, hide away for a second, but they'll never say, "Yep, I was wrong. That happened, and my bad." But they'll never admit it. They'll just say, "Oh, something happened that made it go over the hump that I didn't know about," or something like that. But it's like you're living in a reality where things are getting done, and the team's full blown ready for Vegas in 28.
And it's been fun doing these trips down here this off season. and getting to learn more, because now it's become such a reality with people seeing the ballpark rise from the desert and, being down at the area, like right now we're at Caesars, but staying at MGM, you get to talk to people who work there. Really the excitement now that people know that this is real, because before people were like, now people know it's real. Talk about the excitement that's starting to generate down here because they're seeing the ballpark being built.
Yeah, it's generating a lot more buzz now. They're seeing it now. You can see it over the fence when you drive by on the strip. So it's becoming way more a reality. The A's are all about the community. They've been throughout doing all kinds of events, buying all the Little League uniforms for everyone throughout the entire state, not just down here in the South, up north as well. They jump around the schools, do reading week, all that kind of thing. They're very present in the community. They got the ballpark experience now, so you can go in there and kind of get a feel for what the ballpark's going to be like. Start getting your season tickets here pretty soon there. They also have another office space where, they have their local workforce here that's kind of growing every month now. So they have a very large footprint in Las Vegas, and it has 28 approaches. It's just going to continue to grow.
When you first stepped into the ballpark experience and the cube, like, I know for me, I was like, this is amazing. What was it like for you?
Yeah, you get kind of lost there for a second. If you kind of just forget where you're at, you feel like you're actually in the ballpark and you get all those different vantage points. I think it's going to be a great selling tool, especially for those looking at the suites and that kind of thing. It kind of throws you in there and says, here's the view you're going to have right from your seat, right from your suite there. So I thought that was like a pretty cool piece to add in there. And then everything else in there is pretty cool too, from the history when you get tap the bat on the home plate.
Yeah,
you can see that full-blown model there with the all the lights and everything. I think it's going to be a great selling piece, especially for those who might be on the fence. They might go in there, and that's going to convince them to get season tickets.
Yeah, I got to experience this when you go to a Golden Knights game and you come out, how everybody floods back into the strip, and you're just like, wow, the amount of options for you to eat, drink, whatever you want to do before the game and after the game. For the Golden Knights, I realized there's nothing like it. I mean, not even New York City. There's nothing like it, because you can go to Park MGM, you can go to New York, you can go to MGM. And I remember walking up, and I was at Aria, and there are people in Knights jerseys after the game all the way up at like Aria. So it's like, I get it. What our games are going to be like before and after, the experience for people that live here in Las Vegas to go to the Strip. I mean, there's nothing like it in all of sports.
No, because when you talk to locals, they'll usually say, hey, I don't go down to the Strip, right? Unless I have someone in town, I'm going to take them around. But that changed since the Knights were there. So now they have, 40-some-odd reasons to go down there every year. They have everything in Park MGM. They have all the bars out there. You'll see people out there before and after the games kind of enjoying it, especially after they win. And like you said, you populate all the casinos all around there. Even the ones who live here might even pop in, Park MGM, like you said, Aria, or even MGM Grand around there. So it's kind of bring like a reason for locals to get down to the Strip more, and it's 80 more games with the A's are going to have much more opportunities there, especially with the whole Bally's plaza area that's going to be there. It's going to be a similar setup to T-Mobile. I think a little bit more bars and restaurant action there. Perfect place for pre and post game activities.
When you think of Vegas as a sports town, I'm old enough to remember everybody saying they will never have professional sports in Vegas because of gambling. And now when we talk to Steve Hill, when we had him on the program, who runs the tourism and the visiting board here, who talked about when you start looking at all the fights and you start looking at UFC and you start looking at F1 and you got hockey and you got the NFL and you got college football, obviously with UNLV and UNLV sports with college basketball and all the different events. And now you're going to have the A's. Basically, you're going to have a sporting event in Las Vegas almost every single day during the year.
Yeah, so we'll have all of our home teams, obviously, and then we always get those one-off events. We had the Super Bowl already. We're going to get it again in 29.
Bowl game.
We got the college football championship game coming next year. We got the Final Four the year after that. We got WrestleMania coming up next month for the second straight year. We have F1 every fall. And then we have, rumors of the NBA, right? It's been the highly unkept secret, right? That Seattle and Vegas are pretty much going to get the expansion teams. We'll get some more clarity later this summer, but add that to the mix, and there's just going to be no shortage of events. Even you throw in the rodeo too, National Final Rodeo in December. Like I said, pretty much every single month almost, there's not going to be a lull of sporting events, and then you add the concerts and everything else in it that these venues bring, and it's just a 365, 24/7 operation now.
Rodeo's a big deal. It brings a lot of people into town.
Well, they might end up over at the A Stadium. You never know. I know that there's been some initial talks about maybe moving it over.
Rodeo at our stadium?
That's a possibility from what I'm told. So obviously bigger capacity than the Thomas and Mack Center. Obviously they've had a great run there. I know UNLV wants to keep them there, but I think I think it just makes too much sense, especially because it's set up to host events like that, and that could be a great one to have in December.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking about baseball and putting projections together, a lot of people didn't think about our venue is going to be one of the most state-of-the-art venues in the world, definitely the most state-of-the-art in baseball, but one of the most state-of-the-art in the world. We know that Allegiant Stadium is the highest grossing facility in the United States and also one of the highest in the world. Now, this will be a little bit smaller, but yeah, when you think about concerts, I've thought about, we now play bowl games in baseball stadiums. I mean, we have bowl games at Wrigley Field. We have bowl games at Fenway Park, so there could be football. I didn't think about the rodeo, but yes, beyond baseball, our venue is going to be a venue that a lot of people are going to want to be a part of.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, people keep pointing out, why is it going to be so small? They say, right, it's the trend of, the times, right? A lot of the arenas and stadiums are shrinking because people have the, crystal clear LEDs at home. They have all the refreshments, right? So maybe they don't want to leave their house. So they have to have these reasons too. So they've been kind of short, making these stadiums smaller. Allegiant Stadium's one of the smallest in the NFL. So people were saying that right before that, but now it's the highest grossing in the U.S., second highest grossing in the world. A Stadium is going to be similar to that. Obviously it's going to get those events that kind of don't fit at Allegiant and are too big for T-Mobile. That's going to be the perfect spot for it. So I think you're going to see for its size, it's going to be similar as far as the revenue growth as well.
Is it amazing the things that you hear and then get accomplished? Because some it would seem like it's wild, but there's like nothing that can't be done here.
Yeah, they, Mark Burdain's been there, from before the Raiders, and he got the Raiders done, and now he's with the A's. And he says Nevada is a get to yes state, which, basically if you have a project, there's going to be a way you can get to yes. So you just got to work with the, the various politicians locally and the statewide. But, they're all about adding, new ways and new, avenues to bring visitors here. Obviously, it's the biggest, revenue driver here in Southern Nevada is tourism. So,
yeah.
It brings the tourism in as well, but it also makes another industry as far as the sports business goes. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there.
I love how the remnants of F1 stays up throughout the year. Is this really becoming like the home of F1 racing?
Yeah, that's become the marquee race. It's only been around for 3 years now. We're going to year 4. They're looking at a longer-term deal now. They have the $200 million space there just off the strip behind the MGM, where it's open year-round now.
Right. I mean, you come out of the airport, it's right there. It looks like a massive cruise ship.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right.
It was a cruise ship with a bunch of interactive F1 museum. You can go out on the ground and kart and drive on the actual course that the drivers drive on. It's been a cool aspect. So it's kind of growing the fan base locally and keeping it top of mind year round, not just for November when the race happens. So that's kind of helping grow the race not here locally, but U.S. as well, because all the people that come from all around the world and the U.S. come here and they get the feel for F1, and it kind of gets them kind of excited maybe to come out for the race in November.
What is it like with the cars at such extreme speeds going through the strip and the whole track?
It's the sight to be seen and heard, because it's the noise it makes it just as impressive as the visuals. So just seeing them go down that 1.1 mile stretch of the strip where the high speed is reached to around 217 miles per hour going down the strip, you're like, you're not going to hit more than 35 on the normal day with all the traffic on there, right? So it must be a sight to see. I went down it on a truck bed and they gave us a tour. We went about 50 and that was cool, just to be open air and see it. But I guess when you're in the car, it's just a whole blur. So you don't even see it in the car. So only the fans get that cool visual experience. But, it's one of the cooler things to see when you're here.
Someday you're going to be able to write a book about sports in Las Vegas, because when you started here, there was no NFL, there was no NHL, there was no Major League Baseball, there was no F1, there was no WrestleMania. Like, the NFL was scared to death to come here. So you've had the draft here, you've had the Super Bowl here. The national championship game, Final Four is coming. Like, all these events and all of these teams and leagues that weren't here when you started your career to where we are today is crazy.
Yeah, once they struck down the gambling ban, right, things happened super quick. The Golden Knights came out right away. The Raiders rumors started happening,
Yeah.
and then that came into fruition here. And then the A's started poking around in 2021. It's been 5 years now. It's kind of crazy to think that it's been that long. Now you have their stadium coming up out of the ground, and now we have the NBA. Like I said, rumors are by 29 or 30.
The NBA will be
Yeah, so but I'd say 29 to 30 will probably be here by then. So by the start of the new decade, we're going to have all 4 major sports and the Aces on top of that, 3-time WNBA champions. Obviously,
sorry I left out the Aces.
Yeah.
Mark Davis, who I used to work for, very proud of the Aces, no question, the championships.
Oh yeah. He's since he took over ownership of that team, they just made strides. They had the first purpose-built team headquarters and training facility, and now that's kind of become the blueprint for the rest of the league. So you see Vegas kind of just changing the cultures of sports too, with the Raiders, also their HQ and their training facility. Every year it gets an A on the NFLPA's report card, so people are looking at as well. Obviously, the A's are going to be practicing now at their ballpark, but it's going to be top of the line and kind of no corners cut there.
And they're trying to revive the Pac-12. UNLV football, basketball, and athletics is trying to be a part of that. So they're trying to, even UNLV's trying to take that next step.
Yeah, they tried to pull them into the Pac-12 initially, but the Mountain West said, "Hey, here's $34-something million if you stay."
Litigation.
So then guess what? We'll stay. Yeah, so they're there for now. I think they're more focused on trying to get in the Big 12. So we'll see how that goes.
So you think the Pac-12 thing is dead?
I think they're still trying to pull them in because they only have 9 teams in the Pac-12, and they still call it the Pac-12. So it's a Pac-9 at the moment. So they're looking for 3 more teams, and UNLV's still, the marquee one in the West that hasn't got picked out by them yet. So, if they don't start getting some momentum towards the Big 12, I think the Pac-12 is not out of the question. It's just they would have to pay an exit fee like some of these schools have to, but they're in that litigation, which who knows if they're going to get that money. So there is the potential, but it just depends. And there's a lot of legality to it now.
Jason Giambi, A's Hall of Famer, who lives in Las Vegas, has his family here. He said to me, I cannot wait. And he said, not just because he's a former A and he's in our Hall of Fame, but he goes, you need to understand, in the summertime, when you have kids and it's hot, you can only put them in the pool so often. He goes, Vegas has been looking for something in the summer for families to do. How much are our games, Saturdays, Sundays, in the evenings during the week, 81 games, 6.5 months, how much are we going to fill that void that families have been looking for here in the desert?
Yeah, it's going to be huge. Right when the Knights season ends, depending on how far they go in the playoffs, it goes right into the start of the summer. There's a big gap there to fill. So perfect, timing for the A's to come in. Mark Bedane saying, hey, we're going to have affordable options for families. Don't worry about that. They rolled out the high-end club this week. You saw some of those pictures of the glitz and glam. Yeah. But there's still going to be spaces for families, good, ticket prices and concession prices and all that. It's going to be an affordable option. They want to make sure of that just because that's what they've been promising, the local fan base since they started kicking around here. So great, aspect. You mentioned all the games. These weekend series are going to be great to have, especially some of the big name teams that maybe they're not A's fans yet and they'll go see their team for now. I think as the years go on, they'll start kind of gravitating some of those fans who aren't A's fans yet and making them A's fans as well.
Well, I can tell you, one of our favorite stories is Tampa. So years ago, when Tampa got a team, obviously the Yankees trained in Tampa, and Tampa is full of people from the Northeast who are Yankee fans who want to get out of the cold, and they moved to Tampa. But here you develop the Rays. And people are like, this is not going to work. Well, over time, you've had generations of kids who have grown up, and then they've had kids, and all they have known in town is now the Rays. So what I like to tell people, the naysayers, is obviously in life, we are prisoners of the moment, and we worry only about now. But years from now, down here in the desert, you'll have kids who not talking about the Knights, they already have it, but they'll only know the Raiders of Las Vegas. They'll only know the A's of Las Vegas. They will never know that they'll know, but they'll never in their life have experienced the team coming here for the first time. When these teams move, just the way it was years ago when the Colts, probably the biggest move of all time, the Baltimore Colts going to Indianapolis, we don't even talk about that anymore. We don't even talk that the Houston Oilers are the Titans now. We don't even talk about the Minnesota Lakers or the Los Angeles Lakers. Over time, that all goes away. These are long plays. People are so reactionary about where we are because we're humans and we care about the now. But the reality, these are all long plays.
Yeah, when you look at these deals, they're usually for at least 30 years, and they have, options to extend those, right? So the Raiders are early on in their stay here in Vegas. Every year you start seeing more and more Raiders fans. You've seen all the Raiders license plates popping up now around everyone's cars when you're driving around the city.
Yeah.
A lot more flags, stickers, all that kind of thing. So has the A's, they've progressed here in Vegas, and their buildings starting to come out of the ground. A lot more A's stuff you're seeing around every day. I can't go without seeing someone wearing an A's hat or shirt or jacket or something now. So it's kind of been growing already before they get here. So once they get here, they have a pretty good established fan base. But as you mentioned, say first 10 years in, they'll have that next generation coming in. Like you said, they'll only know the Las Vegas A's, and they'll kind of have that hometown pride. So it's going to take, it takes a while, but not overnight kind of thing, which people are pointing out, there is no fans. Well, there is fans, and it's going to keep growing every year that they're here, especially with the lineup they have coming in with some of the people they locked up, the young core. It's, there's a lot of excitement there. So people are seeing that John Fisher's ready to spin on this. As he was saying, once we get a new facility, we can do that. It's not been done yet, and they're already starting to do that. So they're kind of seeing that future come to life here.
Commander, who's won the World Series the last 2 years?
The Los Angeles Dodgers.
We're not talking about them being in Brooklyn anymore. I remember last time I checked, the Dodgers
in the 50s.
When the Giants won their 3 World Series in San Francisco, they weren't talking about them in New York, were they?
No.
It's case in point. Franchises have moved, and then all of a sudden you have decades go by, and these kids grow up, and they become fans as they are kids, and then they're adults, and they have kids, and then let's face it, there's been change for many, many years. Before we let you go, when you talk, you just mentioned about our young core. How excited are you when you start looking around and there is an abundance of talent with the Athletics right now?
Yeah, so you're looking towards the future, right? They got that locked up, and I'm sure there's more to come, especially with the Kurtz and all them. So that's a lot of what the people talk about here. That not just the stadium, they start talking about some of the moves they're making. They have, when they come to Vegas, they're going to have some momentum. They're hopefully make some playoffs runs before they get here, and then once they're here, they're going to be a bona fide contender. So that's a lot of the talk right now here locally, is how the A's are kind of locking that talent up. I was in the stadium right now earlier. They're doing batting practice. Lawrence Butler was going up, signing people's autographs, holding people's kids up, and all that kind of thing. So they're already making those connections right now with the fans. So it's kind of just going to grow over the next couple of years. And when they have their big debut here in 28. I think it's going to be a lot of excitement, especially around what's to come on the field.
Well, and then the benefit of having your AAA team so close. We saw that with the Sugar Land Skeeters just outside of Houston, and the Astros having them because they were independent baseball, and then all of a sudden now they're the AAA team for the Astros. There's such a benefit to having your AAA basically in the same town. I mean, how much do you love the fact that the Aviators will stay here in this beautiful ballpark in Summerlin? It's phenomenal. And our AAA is just 25 minutes away. That's a huge bonus for the team.
Yeah, it's also a great way to get the fans early on or some of the up-and-coming stars, right? They're going to start here with the Aviators before they go up to the A's. So it's going to get them more, familiar with who's going to be the next stars of the team. So it gets them in early, and then, something happens, they can, hey, you want to drive 25 minutes down the road and come join the team right now because we need someone to come up. Someone got injured. You saw it with the Knights when after the Olympic run, some of their players didn't make it back because they're doing the celebrations, going to the White House and such. So they called some people up from the Silver Knights who they're in Henderson, about less than 10 miles away from T-Mobile Arena and on the Strip. It's going to work in a similar fashion. It's pretty quick. You can do the same day pull up. You have to fly someone out or have them come down on a trip. It's going to be in the same city. It's a big benefit for them.
Yeah, the Gold Knight, Silver Knight thing is brilliant.
Oh yeah, it's worked out well. It's like I said, you got to see like Logan Thompson when he was there. He kind of came up through there, and before he got traded, that's why he kind of got a fan favorite before he got to the Knights. It's people were growing up with him over there at the Silver Knights.
Yeah, don't be shocked whether it's the teams in Florida or the teams in Nevada. The whole no state tax, it plays huge with these professional players, but the agents, we've been around the agents who have signed our players. They're like, this is going to be a destination spot. You're seeing it in hockey. You're going to see it in the NFL. Like, guys want to play here.
Yeah, it's not a bad benefit to have, right? Especially if you're coming from like California or something like that, where people are losing a lot of their income to taxes, right? So we don't have that here. So it's always been a big look for as far as Florida goes. It's going to continue here, especially with all the amenities that we have here, and people see what we have, not just on the Strip. You look around, we have Red Rock right behind us. You can go hiking in the nature. You go up to Mount Charleston. You snowboard in the winter or ski in the winter, and you can also go up there and hike in the summer. You're 4 hours away from the ocean in Los Angeles right there. You can go down there. And then Utah has all kinds of different hiking like Zion and everything. So centralized location, not just no state income tax, a lot of stuff besides, what people see on the Strip.
The Red Rock Mountains just behind us are absolutely beautiful. I remember last year we were here, there was snow on top of them.
Yeah, it just snowed on them like 2 weeks ago. So, we've had this weird weather thing where we got that snow out there. It's kind of cold and went back to the 80s. And now we're back down in the 60s. Next week when you guys leave, it's going to be back in the 80s. So it's just a roller coaster. It's like around this time, it's always like that. But you can't complain. We're not getting snow. We're not going to be freezing like 32 degrees or anything. That's like the lowest we ever get usually. So it's you can't complain about the weather here.
Yeah, luckily, so spring training, it's usually shorts, right? Down in Arizona, your shorts. And luckily I had some pants for today because shorts, it's a little chillier than I thought, but it's actually refreshing. It's spring training. Nothing about. Are you fired up for us coming back in June before we let you go?
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of people are excited about that too, right? Because we have these games, or they're spring training. They don't go towards their record. The first game, games of record coming on. The 60 games they're gonna have here. I think they're almost sold out of those tickets already. They said
get your tickets because it's going to be sold out soon.
In like 24 hours, they almost sold them all out. So it's kind of going that way. So obviously a lot of excitement about having games of meaning coming here to Vegas, which the first 6 of many to come.
Well, let me tell you something. A lot of people have taken shots, but you always stand tall. It's been fun to watch. You always be right.
Hey, I try. I only speak the facts, and then, the facts come to life. So that's the way it goes.
All right, we'll be utilizing you a lot. Just keep your phone on. We'll be calling. Always appreciate your time. Enjoy the ball game today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Always happy to join.
Are we efforting on Mark Bedane, the president of the Athletics?
Still no update, but we're efforting, yes.
Okay. We still got a lot more, about a half hour of first pitch right here on A's Cast Live.
Baseball is back, and big league action has never been more affordable. For a limited time, grab your tickets to see the A's in West Sacramento for just $8. That's right, only $8 for select games this April and May. Catch the showdowns against the Royals, Cardinals, and American League West rivals, the Mariners and the Rangers. Whether it's a midweek getaway or an afternoon at the park, don't miss your chance to see your A's for less than the price of a ballpark snap. Tickets are moving fast. Head to athletics.com, that's athletics.com, to secure your seats today.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'sCast. That's athletics.com/A'sCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'sCast today.
Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 season tickets at the A's Ballpark in Las Vegas for just $19.01. The amount honors the founding year of the Athletics franchise in 1901. By joining the priority list, you'll get an early opportunity to grab season tickets before they go on sale to the public, while also supporting youth baseball and softball programs across Southern Nevada. To secure your spot, visit athletics.com/Vegas.
Tyler Soderstrom joined Chris Townsend to talk about his breakout 2025 season, his new 7-year contract extension, and his commitment to the future of the Athletics.
There was some conversation right at the end of the season last year with what they were planning to come to us with. So we had a good idea. I knew that they were going to come to us with something in November, and they came with their first offer. Everything is a negotiating process, so there's that whole process. My agent, Garrett Parcell, did a great job at Paragon Sports of kind of let me and my wife and my family just kind of sit back and let them kind of handle all of the whole process of it. And, we ended up coming to terms. So it was something that I wanted to do. I love this organization. I got drafted by them. my relationships that I've built. I mean, that's what's important to me. So I'm just excited, to be here for the long term. And, yeah, like I said, just super blessed.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast. Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 A's season tickets in Las Vegas for just $19.01, honoring the franchise's 1901 founding year. Join the list for early ticket opportunities and support youth baseball and softball in Southern Nevada. Visit athletics.com/Vegas.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
A's Cast Live continues from A's Spring Training. Here's Chris Townsend.
Welcome back to A's Cast Live. We're here in downtown Summerlin for A's, before the A's and Angels.
Hello. All right, there we go.
At Las Vegas Ballpark.
Technology this trip has been terrible. Terrible. By the way, we have a World Baseball Classic history moment has been made. Ozzie Albies has hit the first walk-off World Baseball Classic home run. This has just come down.
It's the first ever?
First walk-off HR in Classic history. Netherlands stuns Nicaragua.
Interesting.
A 4-3 walk-off Saturday at Lone Depot Park. You know what they need to be able to do with the World Baseball Classic? And I've just I have a buddy that is actually in Houston right now. He took his son, and they're there. Everybody has a lot of questions, I've noticed, about how these teams are put together. Maybe they need to do a better job of explaining why, for instance, why is Bichette and Ramirez, why are they on Team Brazil, right? And you'd be like, well, Bichette's mother, Dante Bichette's wife, Bo Bichette's mother, she was born and raised in Brazil. But I believe, and I can't remember what is she, Taiwanese or something like that.
I remember you went through this whole thing with the Bichette family the other day.
And then you have Manny Ramirez married a woman from Brazil. So whatever Ramirez, the kid's name is, I can't remember what his name is. He Junior?
Dante Bichette Jr., yeah.
No, Ramirez.
Oh, no, it's just, I forget what his first name is.
So whatever. So his mom's from Brazil. So, like, people have questions like, okay, Ozzie Albies, he's playing for the Netherlands. Like, they need to do a better job of explaining heritage and why each guy is representing this country. Instead of just saying, hey, let's announce the teams and here you go. Like, we get the United States and we get Team Japan. But when you have all of a sudden, like Team Brazil, who we got to see take on the Athletics, you had a lot of Japanese guys on that team. Well, there's reasons why those guys are on that team because of family relations. Well, explain it to the fans, and it helps people. It's like the Olympics. Mike Tirico now, Bob Costas in the past. They did a great job telling you the stories of the athletes, right? And they're more, just not the United States athletes, but athletes even on for different countries. Explain what we're doing. I think I found my problem. It's that and my headphones. I got a lot of wires I'm dealing with.
Oh, it's not plugged in. Or did this come unplugged? Oh.
just came unplugged. We got a lot of wires that we're dealing with. But here's the whole point. When you get the backstory on these players and these countries and why these players from Major League Baseball, when a guy's from like the Dominican, but he's playing for the Netherlands, like, why is this? So if we're going to really sell this team outside of the baseball bubble, because I hate to tell you, if you're not in the baseball bubble, you probably don't care much about the World Baseball Classic, but we'll bring on someone like Mike Farron, who does play-by-play for it, and he'll act like it's the Super Bowl. And I have to sit here and go, but most people I know don't care. So how do we get more people to care and get into it? Well, explain the backstories of why these guys are playing for each country instead of just putting this random tournament on during spring training. And you're like, why is this guy playing for Nicaragua? Why is this guy playing for the Netherlands? Why is he playing for Brazil? Because I have a buddy who's there in Houston who was texting me going, why are these guys playing for these teams? Because it doesn't make sense. Well, once you look at the backstory, then it makes sense. Baseball is doing a horrific job of giving us the backstories of how some of these teams are built.
So, okay, would you like this? And I saw this earlier today on X. And it's a comment from Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper said the WBC is great, but it's not the Olympics. He said that he hopes that it's worked on the next CBA, that baseball brings Major League players back to the Olympics. And here's what he said. No disrespect to WBC or anything, but everybody knows when the Olympics are on, everybody's watching. And you would also know why specific players are playing for each country in the Olympics. And I think that like we talked about doing the WBC tournament, maybe playing it during the season, getting rid of the All-Star break every couple of years. But would you rather to see the Major League players playing the Olympics every 4 years?
But that's every 4 years. It's a long time.
Maybe you can still do the WBC.
And baseball was a fail in the Olympics because you weren't using Major League Baseball players. I mean, it's going to be the same thing. I mean, let's face it. Baseball, you're going to get, you're not going to be filling. I don't know how big it failed essentially. Yeah. But what we're trying to build is something that maybe it's every 3 years now, but maybe you do it like every 2 years. Either way, whether you want to go I'm not saying Bryce Harper's wrong. By the way, Bryce Harper, do not be shocked if Bryce Harper is an Athletic at some point.
Oh, well, he is from Las Vegas. Makes
and then I will have to do the interview with him going, hey, remember you said this wasn't a good idea?
Yeah.
Watch him backtrack faster than Deion Sanders in the day. But whether you want to do the Olympic style or you want to do the WBC, either way, you're going to have to allow players to play in the summer. That's just, and I had that with Steve Sachs the other day, my partner on NBC Sports California, A's Cast. Steve Sachs played in 5 All-Star games. But let's face it, the All-Star game has changed because we don't have guys who play pretty much your whole career's in the American League, your whole career's in the National League. The 2 leagues are different. Back in the day, the leagues were different. They had different presidents. It was just different. Now, interleague play, they play against each other. Guys are hopping league to league to league. We don't even talk about it anymore. The All-Star game has lost its luster. When we are asking guys to take selfies with other players and post them on Twitter during the game has jumped the shark a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, but all the All-Star games have basically either diminished or they've gone away. Like the Pro Bowl is just, it's not even a game anymore. So the question, knowing that the baseball All-Star game every single year has gone down in ratings and Fox knows it, would it be better to have, hey, let's have 2 weeks and develop a World Baseball Classic, and the owners and the franchises have to suck it up. We're going to do a WBC, do more like the 4 nations in hockey, and we're going to shrink it. We're going to have less teams. It'll be more competitive. People will be into it because you'll have WNBA going on. What else is going on in the summer other than WNBA in baseball? And I say WNBA because obviously where we are, Vegas, it's a big WNBA town.
That's really about it. I mean, unless you want to count the G League when they play some of those summer league games. That's really
nuts.
about it. I mean, you got baseball and the
nuts.
WNBA. Then, later in August, you have preseason football coming.
Well, you have
but
college football games coming on.
Yeah.
But we're talking July.
Yeah, nothing.
In the middle of summer, that's when World Cup ends up taking over, when we've seen it before in this country.
And that's this year.
Like every 2 years, do a WBC.
And then,
because the Olympic thing is going to be hard, and it's out of your control, right? That's another thing about the Olympics. It's out of your control when you're baseball, when you're hockey. WBC, you control it. Because once again, every 4 years, it's not in the United States, right? It's the Olympics. It's all over the globe. WBC, you control your stadiums, your event, your players. I'm not saying Bryce Harper's wrong. I'm just trying to think logically what's easier and what can you promote. You promote it. The Olympics is promoted by, and the rights are owned by NBC. You can sell the rights. There's a lot of things that you can do with the World Baseball Classic because you're running it. But I like the idea of changing the WBC, shrinking it, only so many countries. You control it, and you do it in the summertime. And for all the traditionalists with the baseball all-star game, the home run derbies jumped the shark. The game isn't what it used to be. World Baseball Classic would if we got in the middle of summer, United States versus Japan, the ratings would be unbelievable. It would dwarf the All-Star game. It would dwarf any regular season. It would be 2 weeks of just madness. Because we said the 4 nations, you didn't answer. The great Nate had to come up. It was like 19 days or whatever.
How many days it was?
It was 15 to 19 days.
Yeah, it was a long. I mean, I just remember being during the. They got rid of the All-Star break for hockey, and they played those games during right when we were in spring
no one
training.
wanted to watch. They've done everything they could to try and keep the NHL All-Star game alive.
Yeah,
and it is dead.
Yeah,
NBA dead. Football dead. The All-Star games are just dead. No one wants to watch them anymore.
Yeah, they did.
Got to evolve as sports.
They did they tried to do like 3-on-3 different types of ways they played the All-Star game, kind of like the NBA. The NBA even tried to do the. Like the USA versus the world kind of format this year with all the All-Stars, and I don't know how much it really worked out. I didn't watch the All-Star game. I didn't check Twitter to see what they thought of it, but there were some WBC games earlier. Towny homered again.
I just got an update. It was out of nowhere. It's like Cubs lead the A's. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Game's not split squad action. We're taking on the Cubs. I don't know. We're at Sloan Park. Pedro Ramirez has hit a solo shot in the bottom of the second, and the Cubs lead the Athletics 1-0 down in the Valley of the Sun.
Yeah. Split squad today and tomorrow, obviously, for the Athletics. Those games will be starting at, I think they might switch to 1 tomorrow because of the time change.
Time changes. We spring forward, fall back. So we spring forward tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll be on the air at 11 a.m. Pacific. It'll be 11 a.m. Mountain as well. We sync up tomorrow.
We get to sleep in tomorrow. I haven't slept in a long time.
Also,
I think Mick Akers. Wait, what do you?
I was going to say.
You going W? I'm going A's. You going WBC?
I was going to say, give you up there.
What do you got?
USA plays tonight against Great Britain. The one and only start you'll see from Tarek Skubal because he's only going to throw 55 pitches, and I'm going back to Florida for Tiger spring training. Japan won earlier, Canada won earlier, and as you mentioned, the Netherlands with a walk-off with Ozzy Albies.
Well, that is also too the build up. Your hype is far better than like when we heard you have to watch MLB Network for who's going to be on Team USA. And you got Greg Amsinger and Harold Reynolds. Oh, my God, Tarek Skubal is going to do it. And then the hype is great. And then you find out he's pitching one game, 55 pitches. And it's like, oh, let down. So you tried to put a little sizzle on the steak, but it wasn't a very good steak. So the one time you're going to see Tarek Skubal, it's today for 55 pitches, and then he's gone. It's like, that's not. So this summer would be better. I love what Mick Akers said from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. When you talk about the star-studded young players that we are now rolling out, it's a big deal, right? It is a really big deal of what and where they are now versus where they'll be in 2028. Think how many more home runs and RBIs Nick Kurtz is going to have in 2028. Does Jacob Wilson have a batting title How many more RBIs and dingers is Brent Rooker going to have? What kind of players? I think this year is going to be a monstrous year for Tyler Soderstrom. Shea Langeliers adding to his resume. Think about all of that in 2028. What is going to be here? Now we start thinking of, well, will the pitching catch up, right? You know, we'll have Morales, Jump, Arnold. You know, what will also be around him at that point? A lot of exciting times. And I'm trying to look at it through their eyes here, what they're seeing, right? They're seeing like, we got some serious talent coming.
We got, I mean, even seeing Gage Jump today, we're going to see Jamie Arnold in the big league soon. Vegas is going to see some guys when we come here in June. Hopefully one of those guys is up here for the team when Gage Jump or Jamie Arnold. And you're going to see, hopefully we talked about yesterday, Kurtz maybe trying to push for a 50-homer season. Brent Rooker looking to be the first athletic to hit 30 homers in 4 straight seasons since.
In 4 straight seasons? 3 straight seasons was Chris Davis.
So
4 straight seasons. Was it in Oakland?
Yes.
Was it McGuire?
It was McGuire. So Brent Rooker looking to do something that hasn't been done since Mark McGuire.
I didn't know if you were going to go Philadelphia on me, and I was going to have to go Jimmy Fox.
Double
X.
Who was like a Gus Zernial, not him, or the guy that was Rooker has a chance
Dave
to pass.
Kingman.
Yeah, so Rooker, you got Jacob Wilson, hopefully going to win a batting title this year. And what Shea Langeliers does as a catcher, he hit 30 last year. He could probably hit 30 again this year, and his defense is going to be better, and he could be challenging Cal Raleigh for the best catcher in the American League. I'd love to see it. I mean, I went on the limb the other day when we were talking, and I said, I don't think Cal Raleigh's going to hit 60 homers this year.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I'm surprised the AP press didn't pick up that. That was such a hot take. Cal Raleigh will not hit 60 home runs this year. Now, he may hit 58, but you said he won't hit 60.
No 60. I don't think he hits 50.
Will you say that if Cal Raleigh doesn't hit 60 home runs this year, it'll be a disappointing season for him?
Are you
going to go on that limb?
Do I think he's, as the kids say, do I think he's washed now that he didn't hit 50?
Yeah, 52 home runs, he's washed.
Yeah, he's down
mid. He's mid.
It's a down year from last year. He's struggling. The power stroke is gone, and the Mariners should be concerned. Did they sign him too early?
I would be fascinating. I think it'd be fascinating just to have dinner with him and be like real honest. And you know, because it's one thing when you've gotten used to putting up extraordinary numbers. We saw McGuire do that, right? Multiple times in his career. When you see, you know, when Sammy Sosa hit 60 bombs 3 straight years, when guys have just put up some, like what Aaron Judge has done without the PEDs is remarkable. And it's why Aaron Judge, you know, and all of us, we can't stand the New York Yankees, but I have so much respect for him. He's going into the Hall of Fame. He is a Hall of Fame player. There is no question about it. I don't even need to say that. The numbers speak for themselves. But the kind of numbers that Aaron Judge has put up without PEDs, unreal. But he lives in that extraordinary atmosphere of greatness. It would be fascinating to have dinner with Kyle Raleigh. Like, hey, listen, this is all off the record. Like, how you feeling after having a year like that? Like, you're going to start a year, you're going to have 0. That's a lot of home runs, 60 home runs. Like Bonds hit 73 and then never hit 50. So you can have one of those years where you're doing historic things and you never even come close to replicating it. That's got to feel like, you know, you're starting the season with 0 home runs after you had 60. That's a tall task to even think about doing that again, especially as a catcher.
Yeah, because when Bonds hit the 73, this career high prior to that was like 49, and then he hit, was that
47 or
24 more, you know, after he did that, which is remarkable for him to break the record set by McGuire years prior. Those years of McGuire hit the 3 straight years. He hit 49. That was obviously his rookie year, 32, 33, 39. So those years of McGuire put up, then he hit 42 2 years later. Then he hit 52 with the A's in 1996. So if we can see anything like that from Brent Rooker, that'd be great. But yeah, with Cal Raleigh, having 0, what he does every day, catching the, you know, being the leader of the Mariners essentially, and taking care of the pitchers every single day, that's a lot to handle. And then to hit 60 home runs to be the best offensive player, because we talk about all the time how good of a player Julio Rodriguez is, but he starts slow every single year. And Cal Raleigh has to carry their offense. And then, Julio came on strong the second half after Cal Raleigh started teetering off a little bit because he was so hot to carry the Mariners. So that's why I think it's going to be a lot of stress on him this year. Like, to think that he's going to hit 60 home runs, that's why I don't think he's going to do it. If he gets 50, fantastic.
Oh, come on.
I mean, over 30 is
so
great.
40, it's fantastic.
30. Catchers don't hit 30 home runs.
All right, Nick Kurtz is going to lead off coming up here, followed by Jacob Wilson, Tyler Soderstrom, Brent Rooker, and then we're going to have McNeil. So you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These guys are everyday players, and a good showing here in Las Vegas the next 2 days, as I believe we're basically about sold out. But I think there are still some tickets available. I would, if you want to come out and see the game, either, game's going to come up in 10 minutes or you want to come out tomorrow. But I like the fact that, like last year when Nick Kurtz was here, we knew he wasn't going to make the big squad. It's like a different deal now. It's like here is Nick Kurtz, right? Superstar in the making. By the way, you know who I ran into today, gave a big old hug to, told him I've missed him. Ran into our guy, the great Bob Melvin is here today.
Oh, nice.
And it's been, I've texted with him, but I hadn't seen Bob since he came back into the organization. So great to see Bob Melvin back. When you talk about having a bench of A's greats that we really haven't had because it's just been, it is what it is. Now that's all changing. Having Bob back in the organization and knowing that he is here to help, doesn't want to manage again. He's done. He just wants to. He loves the idea of the ambassador's role. I love the idea of him somehow helping us in a lot of different ways with what we do. But to have Bob back, to have him help Marcotte, to help him out, whether it's Bushy or Emerson, I mean, whoever it is, just to be a resource for everybody in the organization. The guy who won more games as a manager in Oakland A's history. Never going to catch Connie Mack from Philadelphia. Connie's got that wrapped up. But to have Bob back in the organization and to see him here and to see, and to see like Eric Chavez today, it's so good to have guys that have meant so much in this organization's history to be back with us, and knowing that they're going to be with us, and knowing that they're going to take this thing back here to Las Vegas, and knowing that they're always going to have a home, because that wasn't always the case. It wasn't always the case. It will be now. It's great to see.
No, it is. And it was great to see Eric Chavez here. It was great to see Scott Hatteberg. We got to see these guys over the years, but seeing Chavez last year with the Mets uniform on was kind of I wouldn't say sickening, but sickening to see him not wearing.
Well, he had a job, man. He got a job.
But it's just weird, because you're so used to seeing him as a player with the A's and his career and everything he did, the Gold Gloves. But to see these guys back, especially Bob Melvin, that's going to be great for the franchise. You're telling me that he can't catch Connie Mack's 3,582 wins with the Athletics? You're saying no one's going to win.
He had how many?
Just with the A's, he had in 50 years 3,582 wins.
There's nobody catching Connie. Connie Mack has the all-time wins in Major League Baseball as a manager. He owned the team. He could do whatever he want, and you're never catching that. So the fact that Bob got to the record that he did, passing Tony La Russa, and you think about two guys that managed. One guy didn't manage long enough, and he should have managed longer. That was well before our time. But you just think of the great managers that we have had in our organization. Dick Williams should have been there forever. But obviously with Charlie Finley, things are different. But to pass what Bob did passing Tony La Russa was a big deal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that was a few years ago, right, before he moved on. But, Connie Mack managed till he was 87. Bob Melvin.
87?
Bob Melvin didn't want to manage till he was 87.
He was 87.
His last year in 1950 with the Philadelphia Athletics, where they won 52 and 102, Connie Mack was 87 years old.
Can you imagine the players looking at an 87-year-old guy in a suit? Remember, they didn't wear a uniform. He wore a suit. He's 87 years old in a suit.
I mean, just seeing a manager in a suit now is going to throw people up. But seeing it back then would be, you're 87. What, bro? Why? Well, not bro. But sir, why are you?
Can we
working?
get one of the players? What year was that?
It was 1950.
Can we get somebody from the 1950 Philadelphia Athletics. What was it like playing for an 87-year-old manager?
Well, if you remember Connie Mack, as you know, his first 3 years.
87 years old.
Even
Ken Korak here with Connie Mack.
It's the Connie Mack show.
Connie Mack, you're 87 years old. Nothing against. I hope to live to 87. If you offered me 87 right now, I'd probably take it. We'll give you to 87. I'd hedge my bet and I'd probably take it.
Connie,
87?
Yeah, Connie. He first started managing as a player manager with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1894 at age 31. So from age 31 until 87, he was working in professional. Well, there's 5 years where he wasn't, but from essentially age 31 to 87, he was a manager or a player in Major League Baseball.
You know, one of the coolest things, and we're seeing it right now walking by, and I've seen it because I've walked all around here, downtown Summerlin today, all the young families, the young kids. It is a youthful community. And that's what I've been trying to, tell people is like, there are so many kids and little leagues. They're little. We remember last year talking to what Summerlin Little League did last year. Was it Little League?
Yeah.
And now they went as far as they went. Just the amount of young people in the thriving environment that we are going to be around here in 2028 is very, very refreshing. I live across the street from Little League, so I see it all the time. And when you have that youthful environment, pretty good for baseball. Because let's face it, you can sit here and tell me all you want about hockey, and you can tell me all you want about the NFL. That's not priced for families. Hockey's not priced for families. NBA's not priced for families. Hockey's really not a sport where you see four people sitting in. Hockey really is, and the NBA is really a sport for like two people to go to. We see that, we've seen that for years. It's like in the NFL has priced everybody out. We are really going to be, and as Mark Bedane, our president, has said, we're going to make sure, and Steve Finelli, VP, senior VP of tickets, we're going to have affordable tickets for people. We're done?
Yeah, we're done.
You're breaking me?
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, but this time inside Las Vegas Ballpark.
All right, coming up next, we want to thank Scott Hatteberg and Eric Chavez for stopping by here. Downtown Summerlin, the restaurants, it's very high-end shopping. The food options, come by and check it out. An open mall, it is awesome. It is really beautiful. But we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be on at 11 a.m. because the time changes tonight.
Correct.
We'll be on 11, whether it's Mountain or Pacific, we'll be on 11. More importantly, we have A's baseball next. It's Hall of Fame squared. It's the great Ken Korak, Johnny Dasco giving you the play-by-play next from Las Vegas Ballpark. It's the Athletics and the Angels next right here on A's Cast and the A's Radio Network.
Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 season tickets at the A's Ballpark in Las Vegas for just $19.01. The amount honors the founding year of the Athletics franchise in 1901. By joining the priority list, you'll get an early opportunity to grab season tickets before they go on sale to the public, while also supporting youth baseball and softball programs across Southern Nevada. To secure your spot, visit athletics.com/Vegas.
This has been a presentation of The Athletics.